Have you ever made one small mistake that made your heart feel like it stopped beating? That moment when you know you cannot undo what you just did. That was me, staring at my phone late at night, realizing I had just sent the most personal message of my life to the worst possible person. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, my apartment quiet, except for the low hum of the heater. My phone was in my hand, and I smiled softly as I typed the same message I sent every night. It was a routine my daughter and I never skipped. I typed, "I love you. Sleep tight, princess. Daddy is always with you." I hit send without thinking. Then I froze. The name at the top of the screen was not Lily. It was Victoria Reeves, my boss. My stomach dropped so fast, it felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. My chest tightened, and my fingers went cold. I stared at the screen, hoping my eyes were wrong, but there it was. Delivered. Read. I whispered no under my breath, my heart pounding so loud I was sure the neighbors could hear it. Victoria Reeves was not just my boss. She was the CEO of Horizon Marketing, cold, brilliant, untouchable, the kind of woman people feared disappointing. And I had just texted her, "I love you." I started typing an apology so fast my hands were shaking. "I am so sorry. That message was meant for my daughter. Please ignore it." I was distracted. "I swear this will never happen again." Before I could send it, my phone buzzed. "Mark, I think you may have sent this to the wrong person." I dropped the phone onto the bed and covered my face with both hands. Tomorrow we had a board meeting, a big one, and now my name was forever tied to the most embarrassing mistake of my life. I was 36 years old, a single dad, and already hanging on by a thread most days. 3 years ago, my wife Sarah had died after a short battle with cancer. Since then, my world had shrunk down to school mornings, packed lunches, work deadlines, and bedtime stories. There was no space for mistakes like this. I walked quietly into Lily's room. She was already asleep, her chest rising and falling softly. Her brown hair was spread across the pillow, just like her mother's used to be. I kissed her forehead and whispered good night, even though she could not hear me. Back in my room, sleep never came. All I could think about was Victoria's face when she saw that message. The disappointment, the awkwardness, the professional damage I might have just caused. Morning came too fast. Breakfast was rushed. Lily forgot her homework. I spilled coffee on my only clean shirt. When I dropped her off at school, she looked up at me with those big blue eyes and asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine. I lied. The elevator ride up to the office felt like a slow march to my own execution. I kept replaying the text in my head. "I love you. Sleep tight, princess." My heart pounded as I stepped onto the executive floor. Victoria's office door was closed. Her assistant was not at her desk. I stood there for a moment, then knocked softly. "Come in." She was standing by the window, the city skyline behind her, perfect posture, perfect suit. When she turned around, I expected anger or embarrassment. Instead, her expression was calm, almost gentle. "Please sit down, Mark," she said. I started talking too fast, tripping over my words as I explained everything. The routine, Lily, the distraction, the mistake. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she nodded. "I figured it was for your daughter," she said quietly. I let out a breath I did not realize I was holding. "Thank you for understanding. I promise it will not happen again." There was a pause. Then she surprised me. "How old is Lily?" "7. And it is just the two of you?" I nodded. "My wife passed away 3 years ago." Something changed in her eyes. Something real. "I am sorry," she said. "That must be very hard." Before I could respond, her assistant came in to announce the board was ready. Just like that, the moment disappeared. She picked up her folder and became the CEO again. "Your presentation is strong, Mark," she said as we walked out. "You have nothing to worry about." The meeting went better than I expected. My proposal was approved. Victoria even backed me up in front of the board. By the end of the day, I almost believed the nightmare was over. Then, at 5 o'clock, as I packed up to pick up Lily, Victoria appeared at my door. "Do you have a minute?" I checked the time. She nodded. "It will be quick." She offered me a major account, a huge opportunity, one that came with travel. My pride clashed with my fear. I explained my situation with Lily. "What if we find a way to support you?" she asked. "Childcare assistance, flexible planning." I was stunned. "Take the weekend to think about it," she said. "And Mark, I understand more than you think." That night, after Lily was asleep, my phone buzzed again. It was Victoria. "I hope this is not overstepping," she wrote. "I found a childcare service that supports single parents who travel for work. Just thought it might help." I stared at the message, my heart confused. This was not the woman I thought I knew. And somehow, that one mistaken text was no longer just a mistake. It felt like the beginning of something I did not yet understand. That weekend, I barely slept. Not because of deadlines or Lily's nightmares, but because Victoria Reeves would not leave my thoughts. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest tightened. I kept rereading her message about the childcare service, wondering why a woman like her would take the time to think about my life outside the office. Saturday morning, Lily sat at the kitchen table coloring while I stared at my laptop. I was supposed to be reviewing notes for the Westfield account, but my mind kept drifting. Lily looked up at me and tilted her head. "Dad, you are doing that quiet thinking thing again." I smiled and sat across from her. "Just deciding something important, Princess." "Is it good, important, or scary important?" "Both," I admitted. She nodded like she understood more than she should. "You always figure things out. Mom said you were good at that." Her words settled deep in my chest. That night, after she fell asleep, I finally clicked the link Victoria had sent. The service looked professional, trusted, and designed exactly for people like me. Single parents, emergency coverage, overnight care. My biggest obstacle suddenly felt smaller. By Sunday evening, I had made my decision. Monday morning, I walked into Victoria's office with my heart pounding. She looked up from her desk, that calm, focused expression in place. "You wanted to see me, Mark?" "Yes." "About the Westfield account." I took a breath. "I want to do it," I said. "If we can make the schedule work, I am in." For the first time since I had known her, Victoria smiled openly. "I am glad to hear that. We will make it work." Over the next 2 weeks, everything changed, slowly but noticeably. Victoria adjusted meeting times. She condensed travel. She checked in, not just on deadlines, but on how I was holding up. Sometimes she asked about Lily. Not in a polite way. In a real way. The night before my first trip to Chicago, Lily sat on her bed hugging her stuffed bear. "Do you have to go?" "Yes, sweetheart." "Just 2 nights." She bit her lip. "What if I miss you too much?" I sat beside her and brushed her hair back. "Then you call me. Any time." "I promise." She nodded, but her eyes were shiny. Mom used to say, "Love does not disappear when people are apart." That night, after I tucked her in, I sat alone in the living room, feeling like my heart was splitting in two. The next morning at the airport, I was distracted and exhausted. That was when I heard my name. "Mark." I turned and almost dropped my bag. Victoria was standing behind me in the security line, dressed casually, a carry-on by her side. "You are coming too." She nodded. I thought it would help to be there in person for the first meeting. Something in my chest loosened. I did not realize how nervous I had been until that moment. On the plane, we ended up seated next to each other. After takeoff, I stared out the window, my thoughts back in Boston with Lily. "First trip away from her," Victoria said quietly. I looked at her, surprised. "Yes." "That is hard," she said. "I know." I hesitated, then spoke. "My wife died 3 years ago. This is the first time I have left Lily overnight since then." She did not interrupt. She just listened. "You are not weak for worrying," she said. "You are a father." I glanced at her. What about you? Did anyone worry about you growing up?" She was silent for a moment. My mother worked constantly. She loved me, but there was never time. I learned early how to take care of myself. That explained so much. In Chicago, we worked side by side seamlessly. The meeting was a success. That evening, over dinner at the hotel restaurant, the conversation shifted away from work. Books, childhood memories, favorite places. It felt easy, natural. Later that night, I called Lily as promised. I paced my room, whispering reassurances and saying I love you at least 5 times before she hung up. When I turned around, Victoria was standing in the hallway, clearly having overheard. She smiled softly. "She is lucky to have you." The next day, before we flew home, Victoria showed me a draft policy on her tablet. Flexible work arrangements for employees with caregiving responsibilities. "This is incredible," I said honestly. She met my eyes. "That text you sent me, it reminded me we forget people have lives outside these walls." Back in Boston, life settled into a new rhythm. Workdays felt lighter. Lily noticed it too. "You smile more now," she said one night at dinner. At work, Victoria and I stayed late more often, sharing meals and ideas. Sometimes silence. Comfortable silence. One Friday evening, as we were leaving together, she stopped and looked almost nervous. "Would you and Lily like to have dinner this weekend?" I blinked. "Together?" "Yes." "Somewhere family-friendly," I smiled. "We would love that." That dinner changed everything. Lily adored her. Victoria listened to her stories like they mattered. On the walk home, Lily slipped her hand into Victoria's without thinking. Later that night, after Lily was asleep, Victoria stood at my door. "Thank you for tonight," she said softly. "I had forgotten what this felt like." What? Belonging. As she walked away, I realized the mistake I feared most had opened a door I never expected, and I was no longer sure I wanted to close it. After that dinner, nothing felt the same, even though everything looked normal on the surface. At work, Victoria was still my boss. Professional, focused, respected. But now there were moments that lingered. A look held a second longer than necessary. A quiet smile meant only for me. A question about Lily that felt personal, not polite. At home, Lily talked about Victoria like she was already part of our lives. "Is Victoria coming over again?" she asked one evening while helping me set the table. "Maybe sometime," I said carefully. "I like her," she added. "She listens." That night, after Lily was asleep, I sat alone on the couch thinking about how dangerous this all felt. Not just because she was my boss, but because I had locked my heart away after Sarah died. I told myself love like that only happens once. Then Victoria proved me wrong in the smallest ways. When Lily had a fever and I had to leave work early, Victoria told me to go without hesitation. When I apologized for missing a deadline, she told me family came first. When Lily had her school play, Victoria rearranged a meeting so I could be there. She even asked to see pictures afterward. 2 months passed before the next Chicago trip. This time, Lily was on school break. I mentioned it casually during a meeting. Victoria paused, then looked at me. "What if Lily came with you?" I laughed nervously. "On a work trip. You could stay longer. Make it a short vacation for her. The hotel has larger suites." I knew instantly she had already thought it through. That night, when I told Lily, she squealed so loud the neighbor knocked on the wall. "Do I get to ride a plane? And eat snacks? And see your boss?" "Maybe," I said, smiling. On the flight, Lily noticed Victoria before I did. "Dad, is that her?" Victoria turned, saw us, and smiled in a way I had never seen at the office. She walked over. "Hello, Lily. I am very happy to finally meet you." Lily studied her seriously. "Are you the boss who helps my dad?" Victoria nodded. "I try to." "Then you are nice," Lily decided. The days in Chicago were magical. During meetings, Lily went on supervised outings, museums, zoos, parks. Every night she came back excited and exhausted. On the second evening, Victoria joined us for dinner. She and Lily bonded instantly. Puzzles, ice cream, silly questions. Watching them together made something ache inside me. Not pain, hope. Later, Victoria asked about Sarah. I told her everything. The love, the illness, the loss. She reached across the table and touched my hand gently. You honor her every day, she said. Loving again would not erase her. That night, Lily asked if Victoria could hear her bedtime story. We sat together, close but not touching, listening to Lily drift off. Then Lily asked if we could send Victoria a good night message too. My heart stopped. Victoria smiled, her eyes wet. That would be nice. After Lily slept, Victoria stood by the door. This trip means more to me than you know, she said softly. So did that night. Back in Boston, we became inseparable outside of work. Walks, dinners, school events. Lily thrived with her around. 6 months later, on the anniversary of Sarah's death, Victoria showed up at my door holding flowers. I have been thinking of you, she said. Something inside me broke open. We talked. We cried. We admitted what we had been avoiding. I reached for her hand. She did not pull away. When she kissed me, it was gentle, careful, like she understood everything I had been holding inside. That night, love found me again, not by replacing what I lost, but by honoring it. After that night, everything moved slowly, the way it needed to. We did not rush. We did not hide, but we were careful. At work, Victoria was still the CEO, and I was still her employee. Meetings stayed professional. Doors stayed open. No lines were crossed where others could see. But outside those walls, something real was growing. Lily felt it before I fully did. One Sunday morning, we were walking along the Charles River. Lily skipped ahead, stopping to watch ducks along the water. Victoria walked beside me, her coat brushing mine as the wind blew. "Dad!" Lily called out suddenly. "You look happy today." I looked at Victoria and smiled. "I think I am." That night, Lily asked if Victoria would come to her school play. I hesitated, then asked her. "I would love to." Victoria said without a second of doubt. She sat in the front row, clapping the loudest. Lily waved at her from the stage, glowing with pride. Afterward, Victoria knelt down and told her she had been amazing. On the drive home, Lily fell asleep in the back seat. Victoria watched her quietly. "She is incredible," she said. "And so are you." Weeks turned into months. Dinners together became routine. Victoria learned Lily's favorite foods. She helped with homework. She laughed more than I had ever seen her laugh. One evening, Lily asked the question I knew was coming. "Are you and Victoria together?" I took a breath. "Yes." "We are." She smiled. "Mom would like her." Those words stayed with me. My own fear still lingered. The fear of losing again. The fear of dishonoring Sarah. I shared that with Victoria one night. She listened, then said, "Loving me does not mean loving her less." That was when I truly let go. Life felt full, balanced, peaceful. Then one crisp autumn afternoon, Victoria asked me to take a walk with her during lunch. "I have something important to tell you," she said. My heart started racing. She had been offered a board position with a major tech company in San Francisco. It was a dream opportunity, a powerful one. But it meant change. "I do not want to leave you, or Lily," she said. "I want a future with you both." She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. I was not planning this moment, but I know how I feel. She opened it. "Mark, will you marry me?" I could not breathe. Before I could answer, Lily ran toward us from the path. "Is that a ring?" Victoria knelt down. I would only say yes if both you and your dad want me in your lives forever." Lily looked at me, then smiled wide. "Dad, remember when you sent that text by mistake? Mom said there are no accidents." Tears filled my eyes. "Yes," I said. "Yes to all of it." Victoria laughed through her tears and hugged us both. In that moment, I knew. The message I never meant to send had led me exactly where I was meant to be. And our story was only beginning. The weeks after the proposal felt like a dream I was afraid to wake up from. Every morning, I would look at Victoria and wonder how my life had shifted so completely because of one small mistake. Lily was the happiest I had seen her since Sarah passed. She talked about the wedding constantly, already planning colors and flowers as if she were the event manager. "Are we getting married soon or medium soon?" she asked one night while brushing her teeth. "Medium soon." I laughed. Victoria handled everything with the same calm confidence she brought to work, but with a softness that was only for us. She chose a small ceremony. Nothing extravagant. Just people who mattered. She wanted Lily to be part of every decision. One evening, while Lily was asleep, Victoria and I sat on the couch going through old photo albums. "I was nervous to ask this," she said quietly. "But would you like to include something to honor Sarah at the wedding?" My chest tightened. "Thank you for thinking of her. She is part of your story," she said, "and part of Lily's." We decided Lily would carry a small charm on her bracelet with her mother's name engraved. It felt right. At work, Victoria announced her transition to a board role. The company was proud, the staff supportive. She surprised everyone when she recommended me for a senior leadership position. "You believe in me that much?" I asked her later. She smiled. "I always have." Wedding planning moved fast. Lily insisted on being the flower girl and practiced walking down the aisle every night in the living room. She even gave speeches to the couch. On the night before the wedding, Lily crawled into bed with me. "Dad, are you happy?" I looked at her. "I am. Mom would be happy too," she said sleepily. The ceremony took place in Chicago, at the same hotel where everything truly began. It felt symbolic, full circle. The morning of the wedding, my hands shook, not from fear, from gratitude. Lily looked beautiful in her dress. Victoria was radiant. When I saw her walk toward me, I knew every wrong turn had led me here. We exchanged vows that were simple and honest, promises of love, patience, family. When we kissed, Lily clapped the loudest. At the reception, Victoria pulled me close and whispered, "Thank you for that text." I laughed. "The best mistake I ever made." "No," she said softly. The right message, sent at the wrong time. I looked around at our family, at Lily dancing, at the joy surrounding us. Love found us when we were not looking. And this time, it stayed. 1 year after our wedding, life felt steady in a way I once thought was impossible. Not perfect, but real, full. Mornings were busy with school bags and rushed breakfasts. Evenings were loud with laughter, homework debates, and shared dinners. Love lived in the small moments now. Sometimes I still thought about that night, the phone in my hand, the fear in my chest. How close I came to believing I had ruined everything. Instead, it changed everything. Victoria no longer went by that name at home. Lily called her Vicky, a name she chose herself. They baked together on Sundays, built puzzles on the floor, shared secrets I was not allowed to hear. One afternoon, I found them sitting on the couch looking through an old photo album. "That is my mom," Lily said, pointing to a picture of Sarah. Victoria nodded gently. "She was very beautiful. She still loves us," Lily said with complete certainty. Victoria looked at me, her eyes soft. "I know." That night, after Lily was asleep, Victoria rested her head on my shoulder. "Do you ever think about how close we came to never meeting like this?" "All the time," I admitted. "If you had double-checked that text, if I had ignored it, If either of us had chosen fear instead of kindness. She smiled. I believe some things find us when we are ready, not when we plan. Life moved forward. Holidays, birthdays, school milestones. Lily grew stronger, happier, more confident. She carried her mother's memory with pride, not sadness. On the anniversary of Sarah's passing, we visited the cemetery together. Lily placed flowers gently. Victoria stood beside her, not replacing anyone, just holding space. "Thank you," I whispered to Victoria as we walked away, "for loving us the way you do." She squeezed my hand. "Thank you for trusting me with your hearts." That night, as Lily climbed into bed, she looked at us both. "Dad, remember when you sent that message by mistake?" I smiled. "I remember. I think Mom helped send it," Lily said seriously. Victoria laughed softly. "I think she did too." After Lily fell asleep, I sent one last message for the night. "I love you." "Sleep tight, princess." Then I typed another, "I love you." This time, there was no mistake at all. Sometimes the smallest accidents become the greatest gifts. And sometimes, love arrives disguised as fear, asking only one thing in return: that you let it in.